Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to talk to you guys again about some of the followers of Jason Wittrock and anyone who uses anyone like that for anecdote who are popping up. And some of them have come up into my channel and started arguments, but they seem to go other places now too, and I didn't realize how popular he was getting. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on scaling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. It's really kind of crazy because I thought this was someone I had just heard of. I didn't realize he was that popular, that he had that many zealot-like followers in the keto world, until I start seeing other people talking about it, such as someone I know on their social media. She was talking about it today, of arguing with some of the zealots who follow him, and she tried to discuss with them the newest meta-analysis on this that just came out this week, a very, very comprehensive meta-analysis that found that when lab-controlled studies are looked at, when calories are equal and protein is equal, people on higher carb diets burn more energy and lose more fat than they do on ketogenic diets, than on high fat diets. All right, the evidence is pretty overwhelming. The only advantage that ketogenic diets offer for fat loss is appetite control. That's all they offer. And not everyone experiences that. And for people who experience that, it can seem like magic. Let's be honest here. There are people who lose weight on these diets very successfully, who struggle with other types. They find diet adherence easier, at least in the short term. And you know what? I would say to someone, if you're morbidly obese and you find a method that gives you good diet adherence, more power to you. Doesn't matter if it's less effective overall. If it lets you keep your calories low and you can follow it, then okay, fine, do so. Do so. You don't have to follow the best diet in the world for fat loss to experience fat loss. You just have to find something that works for you, that you can actually follow and consistently stay in a calorie deficit. But the problem you have is that when people get really stupid with this stuff, and let's just call them keto-tards. Keto-tards is what I would call someone who honestly believes calories don't matter when you're on a low-carb diet. All right, just like people are basically, vegan tards, I guess is what we could call vegans, who also deny the laws of physics and biology, that think when they follow a vegan diet, calories don't matter. Both groups of people, are insanely ignorant. Both groups of people have been proven wrong repeatedly over and over and over with studies. This isn't even debated anymore because it's been so destroyed that they don't have any evidence to stand on. All they have is anecdotal stories, like the Jason Wittrock, where people are like, he's eating huge amounts of calories and still losing fat, doubled his calories, whatever it is they're claiming. Who knows what they're claiming at this point? All right, and let me explain how this works. If someone tells you that without going into a caloric deficit, you're going to lose body fat on any type of magical diet, when all the research says that they're wrong, what does that tell you? Maybe they're lying. Just going to throw that out there. Meaning when anyone makes a claim that you have at least a dozen separate independent scientific studies showing that that's not how something works, and they claim that they personally are able to break these rules of science, that they're able to violate everything that the studies show without any magic trickery, meaning they don't have some trick or something to the way they're doing it, they're just claiming they're just doing it. There are two strong possibilities there. Number one, they're delusional or lying to themselves in some way. Because some people honestly believe they have magical powers. There are people who honestly believe they could eat 10,000 calories and lose fat without a tapeworm or having type 1 diabetes or cancer or something. And there's people who are just delusional. All right, there are people out there who are crazy like that. And your other option is number two. Maybe they're just lying. Usually it's going to be number two. Particularly when there's financial gain in this to follow some kooky diet method. There can be a lot of money in that. There can be a lot of money in that if you build a big enough following. That's what people have to consider with this. Maybe these people are just lying to you. And the thing is, though, is that people have their own bias. They have their own confirmation biases with this. Well, me personally, when I went to one of these diets, I found it easier to lose weight, so therefore the calories don't matter. But people honestly think that maybe that they were tracking their calories accurately. You might not have been. If you have a sugar addiction and you are eating a bunch of refined sugars, I promise you weren't tracking your calories accurately. Your 2,000 calories you thought you were eating was probably 3,000. It's probably 3,500. So no wonder when you went on a 2,500 calorie ketogenic diet, you started losing weight. Yeah, because you weren't eating the 3,500 calorie diet anymore that you didn't realize you were eating. It makes all the difference. But that'll give people a confirmation bias. And when we're talking about high carb diets, people get these confusion, these ketogenic followers, that when you say high carbs, that you mean that all carbs are equal, and that, oh, you know, you should just eat 3,000 calories of table sugar, or some. They always come up with some insane, crazy bullshit that no reasonable person would ever suggest. You know, no, or your carbs can't be coming from rice or potatoes. No, they have to be coming from table sugar and Twinkies and pie and Pop-Tarts. So most of those are high fat also, by the way. You know, you talk about your killer combination. You want to talk about a way to get fat real quick? Combine a bunch of table sugar, refined sugars, with a bunch of fat. Do that and don't exercise, and watch how bad your health goes to shit. Watch how fast you start gaining fat. It'll blow your mind. But can you blame just one thing? No, it's a combination of things. It wasn't just the sugar that did it. The sugar contributed, but it's combining the sugar, the fat, and being sedentary. Now, that being said, you know, people will get angry, though, and be like, well, you know, you're not ripped, because I don't want to be ripped. I think it's disgusting to be ripped. I don't know why in the hell any of you people want it. But, you know, I'm not going to interfere with your goals, but let me put out there for you guys who say, well, I want to be revoltingly ripped. I want to be so lean that when women look at me, they fucking throw up. They vomit because I look like a hideous cockroach alien. Well, if that's the case, then everyone should be eating a junk food diet. If you're, for example, if you're going to use YouTube, anecdotes on YouTube, and you take the leanest, most ripped YouTuber out there, anyone care to guess who that probably is and what he eats? So if we want to follow anecdote, everyone should just be saying, oh, what does Alberto Nunez eat? Well, he gets leaner than Jason Wittrock. Alberto Nunez, or as I like to call him, Alberto the human placenta Nunez, gets so lean that any normal person who's not obsessed with bodybuilding gags when they look at him. Like, he looks fucking hideous. He looks fucking disgusting. He eats Pop-Tarts and Twinkies and garbage and shit every day. He eats a fucking nasty junk food fucking diet while getting that lean. The motherfucker eats shit like Pop-Tarts. Like, what grown man would put a fucking Pop-Tart in their mouth? That's fucking revolting. Who eats that shit? Who eats that shit? It's fucking insane. Like, what grown adult wants to eat a Pop-Tart? I mean, eat a fucking steak and some potatoes, for fuck's sake. With fucking Pop-Tarts. And the dude gets insanely lean. You know how he does it? Because he eats a caloric deficit. But if everyone were to use anecdote off of YouTube, well, he's the leanest guy there, so he must be doing the right thing. You guys need to eat Pop-Tarts with every meal. Eat a Pop-Tart with your chicken. Eat a Pop-Tart with your steak. Eat a big old bowl of ice cream with your Pop-Tart. That's what he eats. But you know what? He's one of those people who are what we call a chronic undereater, also known as a hard gainer. A hard gainer is someone who struggles to eat enough food to gain muscle, who honestly believes that they eat a lot of food because they have a delusion in their head because they don't know what a lot of food is. That they think like 2,200 calories is a lot of food, when most people who lift weights would lose like 3 pounds a week if they ate 2,200 calories. But you know, they think that that's a lot of food. So he's a classic hard gainer, and what he finds is that in order to hit his 2,800 or 2,900 calories or whatever it is that he eats to get lean, that he has to eat junk food to get to that many calories because he can't physically force that many calories in his mouth of whole foods. So the guy eats garbage and nasty shit. That again, a grown adult. Again, I understand children liking Pop-Tarts or whatever, but you know, stuff that no adult eats. No one who cares about health and fitness would eat a Pop-Tart. But he eats Pop-Tarts because that's what he has to eat to get enough calories in to only lose weight at the rate that he needs to get down to that body fat. So if they wanted to use an anecdote, I don't know why they don't use him. He gets even leaner. So technically, if that's what we're going to do, if we're going to throw all the science out the door, all the food selection out the door, and we're only going to look at the diet composition of the leanest people on YouTube, the leanest dude I know of, who isn't probably using insane amounts of drugs. We could argue whether he uses some drugs or not. That's definitely an argument. But who doesn't use insane amount of drugs to get there would be Alberto Nunez, and the dude eats Pop-Tarts every day. So using that logic, Pop-Tarts are a magical fat loss diet. But the reality is it's just caloric deficit. It's caloric deficit. And anyone who is telling you otherwise is full of shit. They're either full of shit and don't know it, or they're lying to you. And most of the time, they're lying to you. Who is telling you that calories don't matter. And so any of these keto-tards, whether they're promoting a vegan diet or a ketogenic diet or whatever it is that they're promoting, when they tell you that calories don't actually matter, that they're not the primary determination of how much weight you gain or lose, that calories in, calories out doesn't, they have been disproven and debunked by study after study after study after study. All right, whenever the studies are controlled and the people don't just report what they eat, like, you don't rely on their honesty and ability to remember of, a bunch of people who are trying to lose fat and their heads being messed with by starvation. Yeah. When the actual scientists have to measure it for them, none of these magical diets work. None of them work. People lose weight and gain weight based almost purely and calculatably off of their caloric intake. There's no magic to it, and none of these diets have ever been found in any study that is actually a controlled study to work. And sorry, Jason Wittrock's evidence wouldn't even stand as the lowest tier of evidence. It would even be acceptable in a study what people are throwing out there. That is not evidence. That is called being a con man. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.